The time is 5:49 PM and the date is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. Megan and Heath are present. Jada is virtual. And I will now open the meeting and take a roll call. Megan, I'm here. Jada?
Aye.
Heath?
Heath, aye.
Thank you. Please note, we are doing a virtual meeting, hybrid meeting, sorry. If a member of the virtual public would like to make comments during a public hearing, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, and you will be assigned, excuse me, a speaking time. If you are listening in via telephone dial-in, press *9 to raise your hand, and then press *6 to unmute yourself. This meeting is being recorded by the local scene, and a record of this meeting will be posted on the local scene website as soon as they are able. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. And we don't have any of that, so our first business is updates, member recruitment.
So we had one person reach out, submit an application. Me and Matt think they're a good fit for the committee. That's all the update I have on that. I don't know if you guys have any updates.
Not, I saw, was it on, did you put it on here?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I guess later on an establishing process for member appointments.
Right.
We can talk about, how you guys want to move forward.
Well, in terms of recruitment, this individual joins, they might have a small network of residents or whatever who they can say, hey, come join open space.
Yeah.
That might fill the committee, so.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I've got one more after that if you guys are on board, so.
All right.
Have they still been reading the open space vacancy announcement at conservation?
I believe they was. I wasn't at the
Yeah.
last meeting, but I believe it was.
They have
and I
been.
did hear it at
I tend to catch them when they're already playing. So
Sullivan's meeting, I
I
believe.
see them on YouTube. So
Yeah.
Wine, and I don't always go as far back as the announcements.
Yeah, they have. We've only been doing like one meeting a month
Right.
lately, so. Continue doing that until it's filled.
And how many are we supposed to have? 5? Or,
They're all appointed by the moderator.
All right, well, we'll come back to that when we move down. The next is the CPC application for Bates Pond Accessible Trail.
So I put in the project assessment form for that and they said it met the guidelines. So now I'm in the process of actually getting the application together, which I believe is due on the 19th, 15th or 19th. I have to check. I have high hopes for getting that funding. I don't think there was a lot of submissions to CPC this year that I know of. So it'll be awesome to get that project started. If you guys have any suggestions or input. Matt basically kind of proposed, so the CPC would fund the design and permitting, kind of engineering of the whole layout. Simultaneously, I'm also applying for the Mass Trails grant, which is due at the beginning of February. I'm trying to get that done before I go out on maternity leave. We expect that the construction portion of the project will probably have to be in two phases. The first stretch would just be if I don't have the map in front of me, he does, but first stretch would just be I can show you guys and I can hold up for Jada. For the construction, we're talking about just doing this stretch. It's all boardwalk over wetland and then the viewing platform. And then, at a later funding date, we'd fund this, which would kind of connect to the fire roads that are already there. I don't know if you can see this, Jada, but I think
It is on the OneDrive.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I think part of the important thing is if they're going to CPC for that part of the presentation is that it's at least a 2-part project.
Yeah,
So they know we're coming back again for the
Right.
next piece and not like, oh, we just did this for you last year. Why are you here again?
well, I know that CPC this year. CPC this year just gonna fund the actual design, which will design the whole thing.
Right.
Mass Trails, we're trying to get them to actually construct that little piece and then,
And they had said before that they were interested in construction of the project, right? Not
Mhm.
why the design.
Yeah.
Mass Trails grant,
yep,
right?
so we
Okay.
expect that all to be done and then. Some other funding source in the future can fund either CPC or maybe Mass Trails again, the remainder.
Okay.
So yeah, I will mention that in the application. I don't know if I
Hold on earlier.
So this is, just so you know, Jada and whoever else is watching, for the construction portion. We're gonna break it up into constructing this piece with this piece in the first phase, and then look at coming back to construct this at a later date, which most of this should already be, there's existing fire trails out there, so.
Oh, okay, great. I can get out there.
That's the plan for that. I'm
Okay.
pretty excited about it.
And when is that application due? You said February for CPC?
CPC is due January, I think 15th or
Oh,
19th.
okay.
I'd have to check. Mass Trails is due beginning of February. Simultaneously working on both of them. Yeah, that's all I have unless
Yeah.
you guys have any. I will add the different phases and stuff to the narrative for CPC.
What was the date again of that CPC meeting? Where this one's going to be presented?
I'm not sure when the meeting date is. I know the application deadline, I think is the 15th or the 19th. I'm having.
Okay. Well, I've got them marked in my calendar.
Next one. Keep you all set with the CPC?
Yeah.
Next is Trail Maps website.
So I updated a lot of the trail maps, the intern color coded the trails at Camp Mekon. They extended onto the DCR property. He updated the trail map on conservation website. I can move those over to open space as well. You guys think that we probably should do that. I think there's a couple other trail maps I put up there that were updated. I just can't think of what they are at the moment, but there's a lot more maps on the website now that are updated. So Matt wanted to let you guys know that.
Will it say something like, you know, if it's a replacement over an existing map, will it say updated? So anybody going in there will,
I need to check.
I don't know if anyone ever downloads or prints them or anything, but you know, you could.
Yeah,
I do tell people to go there all the time.
yeah, I need to check and
Go to the website.
it might say like updated on this date. Can't remember what we're talking about, but that's a good point. Yeah, I could put a little. I could put something here that kind of. Tells you like at least what year it was updated.
Yeah, like most recent, or at least they,
Okay,
yeah.
and then all these were added. I mean, some of them are already up there, but
Okay, great.
so getting there.
Yeah.
I think the intern also blazed trails at Hall. I haven't been out there since he did that, so.
The one out by Opachinski.
Yeah,
All right.
Mayo
I'm like,
talked
why does that
about,
sound so familiar?
Mayo talked about that during your site visit, so that's done, I believe.
So they've been blazed, but I remember when we were out there, Matt told us he wanted to kind of shift some of them. Did he do that part of it?
I'll ask him.
Okay.
I haven't been on site. I know he did it under Matt's like guidance, so
Okay, probably put them where Matt was thinking that he wanted to put them.
I
yeah.
get the sense that Matt intended to go out there himself. Because what I think he was gonna do is move like all the fallen tree limbs and everything and kind of create a
Right,
path,
Mm,
right? By using them as like an edging, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. I'll ask him. I'll back up on that. Oh, yeah, that's all I have for that one. Unless you guys have anything.
well, that's great. I do tell people to go there when you ask for maps and stuff. It's the website. It should be on the website.
I think we should probably put eventually something up at that gate. Because I don't think anyone knows, because that.
Oh, the hall gate?
Because the closest thing to a kiosk we have is
Yeah.
beyond the
I
trees.
wonder if,
You got a sports field between.
one of those signs that you did, there was a picture of a walking sign.
Yeah,
Maybe that might be helpful at that hall property to
Yeah.
kind of just
Because
like.
we're not gonna keep the gate open. It's
Right,
not at
but if
this
there's a
time.
sign that says you can go
Yeah.
walking back there,
so I'll kind of hear that sign during the updates.
Yeah, no,
Something I wanted to talk to you guys about.
when you said that, I said, oh, yeah. Right,
Maybe you can put something like, if you got a signpost, get something that says hall property,
right,
put that under the trail walker guy.
yeah. And people know what not to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I see those all the time in New Hampshire when we drive.
Right,
over
all the time.
Appalachian
I
Trail.
guess if you guys want to talk about it now, I'm
Yeah,
fine with it. So they just put these up the trail, they have a trails committee in Marshfield, I live in Marshfield. I see these up, they just put them up at like all the conservation properties. Some
Yeah.
of them have arrows, some of them don't, where it's like showing where it's going.
yep,
I know you mentioned like applying for a Samson fund or some kind of funding for stuff like this, so I do think the Samson fund deadline is coming up. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's great. You don't even have to customize that.
no,
And if you use those kind of posts and you need time to design something, I mean, you get a couple of these different arrows and one that you can point right or left, but then you need something that points this way kind of a thing, which is a little more difficult, but, and then, if you need to have something made that says hall property, another one that says this property, that property, this park, that park, you could do that later, because you just bolt
Yeah,
it in, it's all modular onto that signpost.
just at least lets people know, hey, I can hike back here, because there's
Right.
a lot in my neighborhood I knew about, and then there's a lot that I'm like, I had no idea that was back there, so it's good awareness. And for safety too, just so people driving by will like,
keep an eye out for people popping out,
mhm.
right,
Um,
no, I always thought they were neat.
I did put in a placeholder, like, I haven't heard back, but I did put in some, we applied for Samson Fund last year as match funding for the Bates Pond Accessible Trail Grant. I have put in a letter to them requesting to retain that funding because this CPC won't cover the full cost of what we need. So I'm not sure, like, if applying for this is part of the open space committee instead of Concom. Because we already kind of like, we haven't reapplied this year, but I did say, can we hold on to these funds from last year? So if you'd like, I can put in something funding for something like this. But I'm not sure
Yeah, I
if
mean,
it,
it's just like, how many locations would this?
or if this needs to be
I mean,
kind of
I think
like,
I think the hall is definitely,
How much, do we know how much was that?
I don't know, I could reach out to the Trails Committee at Marshfield and
Ask.
it might be a good start
I
point.
think, when the Bates Pond goes through, we don't have a kiosk or a signpost ready to go. You want to put one of those in. At least it gets word around. Somebody say, hey, they put in a trail? They won't know this is a
Mhm.
sign.
Yeah,
I
I
won't be
can-
surprised there's another bunch around town,
Right, I'm trying to think of, like, Blackwater has a clear, and he even, there's a little hiking thing on the fence post.
Yeah, because maybe it won't be that much to at least get them up at properties that really need them.
Right, well, it depends on how much they are too, if they're, not that expensive per thing, then,
and there's some, maybe a Nikon when you're driving through there. If you're not familiar with it, don't know where the parking lot is, and
right,
people have been
Mhm.
prone to drive past because the kiosk is inside the parking lot off the side of it. And it's hard to turn around and come back. So one there might be beneficial.
Yeah.
I'm not really certain, but, and if it's not, you just pull it and put it someplace else.
I'll reach out to the Trails Committee. I've met one of the like people who was chair before, and he was very nice. So maybe they'd be able to share that information, maybe even share the design.
If you can find out where they got them from, get the estimate. Maybe add a 5 to 10% contingency, not knowing what the price will be at the time, part
Okay.
of the project. cost.
Thanks. I don't need to go back in there, but
You're not going back in? You want me to log in?
sure. Thank you.
I. What I'd hate to do is, request the same amount they got,
Yeah,
and then find out not only is the
Gone
price
up.
gone up,
Right.
or their supplier didn't provide a bid. And now we have to go with an alternate who's more expensive for the same sign.
okay. Yeah, it's a good idea.
So I don't know if those are standard, in other words, because the government uses those, like the federal government, a lot of state governments have that exact same sign. I don't know if that's an image that only one sign manufacturer owns, or if the government owns it and it can be applied anywhere that sign's being used, or if it's just common property, doesn't belong to anyone.
Yeah. Maybe worth finding out.
Right.
I'll
It
look
would be
into
helpful,
it.
I feel, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Right, our next would be action items to establish process for member appointments.
So currently, there's not really a process in place because Matt kind of got this committee up from nothing.
Right.
And it was just like whoever, there's not really a process. Process in Concom, to my knowledge, is if someone submits an application, it's not really on a first come, first served basis. It's like he reviews the applications for qualifications and then put his recommendation to the board.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's ever like an instance in the future where people submit like a bunch of applications to open space. How do you prioritize which one?
Right.
So with Concom, if they're reviewing the application, ultimately the selectmen make the appointment.
Yes, that's correct. And
So,
in this one, the
Which
town
means it goes through
moderator,
the town administrator's office.
Matt makes the recommendation to Concom and then they make the recommendation to BOS.
But the process, I'm thinking, because you have 5 people on that board, unless they establish a process, they could all, one of them could believe that we should go through this in every little bit of detail. Another one might believe, let's just vote for whoever the conservation agent or Concom supports. And the other might believe, let's just have a quick discussion with the candidates and pick one. And unless they establish something, they can do what they want, right? In this case, it's all the moderator.
Mhm. And Matt is trying to look at getting it back to BOS, I think. Or
Okay.
Concom, whoever did it before, he's trying to get it back to them.
I can't remember why it was changed, but I don't know if there was a conflict or something.
Appointed.
There was some kind of conflict that I don't know all the details that made it that way. Now that that's not really there anymore, he kind of wants it to go back. But for the time being, the town moderator is still going to do it.
Right.
But
I
as
do remember talking to the moderator when he appointed me to. So.
yeah, but as far as like just vetting people or like how the committee wants to, I know ultimately it's other people who do the appointments, but how they
Right.
want to recommend it to that appointee.
Right.
That's what we wanted to discuss with you guys.
Well, I don't know what his opinion would be, but he is a busy attorney. They don't always want to get too involved, but maybe he would. I don't know. It's like any position, people try to protect the authority that they have, and that's an important one because it's
Mhm.
supposed to be unbiased. So
Yeah,
I think we could potentially come up with something, but ultimately we can't be instructing him on who we think he should be appointing unless he says, that's what I want you to do.
okay. I can say the committee discuss, potentially just reviewing people's qualifications and then making an appointment to you, or do you want us to just bring that to you?
I had thought
Sure.
open space, but I guess you're right, because Matt started from nothing. But I had thought he kind of reviewed applications and kind of picked the ones he wanted to put I don't know how many people applied
No.
for open space in the beginning, but,
I know he does that with Concom,
right,
but still ultimately BOS makes the
Right.
appointment.
right.
Um,
I mean, I definitely think we should have some type of say or review of applications. Somebody comes from,
I mean, if you have somebody with a reputation for
just a reputation.
something, yeah, with regard to, like, say, development and whatnot.
Well, right,
And then we learned that a property is potentially coming up for sale. You don't want to advertise that, even if you're not in favor of buying it. You want things to play out the way they ought to play out.
Right.
So you can say, yeah, there might be a red flag on this one. I don't know, you know?
mhm.
So also be, sometimes you know what you need in order to function as a committee. And if you've got a lot of people who are all kind of, you know, like to get together and talk about trees, but don't want to go out clean up the trails, like, well, we need a little balance here.
Right.
Yeah, and not necessarily just on a first come, first serve, like
right,
right now, you know, that's not the problem, but like some reason 10 people want to join.
right. Or
Like-
if you get a group of people that would say, oh, hey, but then it'll be nice to go through that group and
Yeah.
kind of vet those people, not vet, but like,
Actually, that's a possibility. If we were talking about another land buy, like Blackwater, there could be a bunch of people who say, I want to,
well, that's how I ended up on Conscom, because they were
Yeah.
like, all right, well, now we guys did this, you wanna keep helping? Like,
Mm.
but so that it draws people in, different projects, different ideas, different things. So. I think it would be nice for us to be able to at least review applications. And then we can make. Our own recommendation to you, and then I think you would bring it to,
Yeah, I would just be the kind of messenger.
right to the moderator,
Okay.
so
or
if
to
that's,
whomever it is.
the question is, I think, are we gonna vote on that? Because if we're not going to vote on, it, we just, I don't think it's an open meeting law violation for us to discuss it and just say, this is what the committee's consensus view is.
Right,
Otherwise, you have to discuss an individual in a public meeting,
right,
which, you know, I've never heard of something like an open space having an executive session for discussing a candidate member.
right, but they've had it at, like the selectmen's meetings have had people that are running for school committee or running
yep.
for, and say, get up, tell me about yourself. So it's not like they're not an executive session, those people are there,
Mhm.
so we could do the same thing, like, hey,
Mm-mm.
you
If
know.
you're interested, come to this meeting.
Like, we have a few applications, if you're interested, please come, we're gonna talk about your application and make.
But they vote to make the appointment.
Right,
Was the moderator doesn't, he just
Right.
says, I sign this and send it to the clerk. So we wouldn't be appointing them to our committee, we'd just be saying, this is what,
right, yeah, right, or if we had 5 applications for 1 seat, we could say, if you wanna come in and say something, then.
yeah, I think it's gonna be highly dependent on the moderator and whoever's the next moderator to follow, and the one after that, and the one after that. Some of them probably wanna, like, it's my job, and just send me the cans, and I'll do interviews and background checks or whatever, and some might be like, just tell me what you want, because, you know, I've got other stuff to do. I'll sign it and send it to the clerk.
I do remember him asking questions, and it was like a 10-minute conversation, it wasn't a quick, like, hey, you're appointed. He was asking about. what
He asked
my-
me if I was a Glen for punch,
Oh, he asked me.
because
if
he also
I-
appointed me to capital planning, so. Why you
Right,
too?
he had asked, are you gonna save all the trees? And I was like, no, not all of them, just the ones I can. And it's like. He was very, like, it was great, but I don't think, I
Has a
mean,
sense of humor.
right, he does. So I think you could ask him and how involved he wants to be, if he likes it, just without saying,
Okay.
okay, well, disappointed, great, if he doesn't, he wants more involvement, I understand. So. I wouldn't mind. at least
So if he says, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? Should we have
saying.
something like right now that we kind of think is going to happen? Do these applications come in and Juliana and Matt sort them out and bring us the top 3? And we discuss them? Do we have the person come in and
I think if
interview?
we just look at their applications,
I don't foresee, maybe I'm wrong, you know, there being so many that we have to review them and then you guys review them. I'm fine with just bringing them straight to you guys.
right,
Unless you want staff to do it, you know, you guys, it's up to you.
I think if you brought them, we could read them, I don't think, like you said, there's not gonna be.
And you know,
Like,
could
how
you
we-
send them to us individually and then we could just email you, reply with feedback and what we thought, our impressions?
I think so.
Because like, as I said, if we're
Yeah.
not voting on
Right.
who we're gonna appoint,
Yeah.
because we're not the appointing authority, then I don't see why, it's kind of like you asking us when we have availability.
Mhm.
And in this case, we're just not replying all. we're
Yeah.
just-
Right.
Yeah.
That was not any type of.
Yep. Okay, I mean. If y'all
If
want
someone doesn't want to put it in writing, pick up the phone, and call the conservation office.
is that kind of what you guys are thinking to like individually email applications to committee members, get feedback?
I think informal is probably good, and if somebody said, hey, I really want to talk to this person, then how do you arrange it? Does the individual do it, or do we have a meeting?
We just have them come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
have
way the
them
whole
come.
board can meet them or ask questions, or if they have questions for us or what have you, then.
And then make a recommendation to the moderator. I'll still run it by the moderator and
Ask him what he wants to do.
see what he says. So kind of just say, we discussed it last night and.
If
they're
you're
fine.
okay with this, then we'll do this. If you want more, then. we
Okay.
can Adjust to that as well. And
All right. I just didn't want to. I kind of, it came up when we had this new applicant, because I'm like, Matt, how do we do this? And
he's like,
kind of how it came up, so we don't want to assume anything
Right.
that, and then, so it's just good to talk about it, why it's coming up, I guess.
no, I'll be all right with that.
All right,
See what he wants to do. I think feel like he'd be all right with whoever we recommend.
okay,
But he had a good, I remember like a long enough conversation.
sounds good.
For the next one
Does
would
that
be-
sound okay with you, Jada?
Sounds good to me.
Right, well, the next one would be discuss or recommend a new member, so that kind of follows with this. Circle back to, that was the same application that you said?
Yeah,
Earlier.
I just kind of redacted some personal information and then otherwise, I know people in town hall who vetted this person and it seemed like a good,
Right,
seemed like he's interested in open space, so if you guys are on board with it, then I can recommend him to the moderator,
yeah,
but wanted to kind of bring it to you guys first.
no, I read it.
I don't know the individual, is he on recreation previously or some other?
I think he was on recycling committee.
It was something.
He was on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be okay with you recommending him to, the moderator.
Do we need to vote on that? Okay,
I don't think so,
okay.
unless he asks us to.
I don't
I don't
think
think
so.
so either, no.
Okay. All right.
JD, you go with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Firework inventory spreadsheet.
I'd just keep that on there as a running.
Oh, okay,
I haven't done any updates.
okay.
Most of my closest thing I've done lately is some of the sidewalk audits,
Oh,
which
right.
is gonna hopefully play into the integrated trails. but,
Yeah.
I have not been sitting in front of my spreadsheets or
No.
going into some of the properties lately,
It's
unfortunately.
been a little too cold for me. I do want to get into Blackwater to go see, some of the work that's been doing.
Yeah, I wanna get in there as well.
I didn't want to be caught on the camera. Get yelled at on that. And then he was like, no, you can go in. I was like, oh, okay, now that I'm okay to go in. I don't want to be like, what are you doing?
We need to get back into Nikon too, and the Lane Stewart over there.
Yeah. It's just too cold. Alright, so, the next would be open forum, but I do not have anything. Does anyone have anything for open forum?
So I mentioned this to Heath earlier, when you were talking about the sidewalk audits, that Matt has been doing a deep dive into just the conservation restrictions that the town holds.
Oh, okay.
And he found that there's some older trail easements that may or may not be passable that exist that he wants to bring in front of the committee in the future. He's probably gonna do that when I'm gone. And that he just wanted to put it on your radar that there are some that exist that who knows what condition they're in now.
Oh, okay.
And so could be, potential for more connectivity there.
Right.
He also said someone at OCPC is working on a plan for potential rail trail at the MBTA station to follow the right-of-way path and create a rail trail between Plymouth and Kingston, which I think sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That would connect to the one that goes from Portage Park potentially
Yeah.
down to Nelson Beach.
Yeah, that's been.
I don't know the details, Matt, just,
I think it was. It's been like coming and going
That's
for
the-
years now.
That's for the MBTA station, what they
Yeah.
closed, I don't know if they ever
They
was
closed
part-time
it.
open, no.
No.
And then I think it's near or was maybe part of the line that serviced the Portage factories. And then that, I think,
Would
continues
go
south, maybe
down.
towards the Cape, but it goes all the way down to Nelson Beach, and
Yep,
there might have been something beyond that, but I think they built condos and stuff all
there is a rail trail from Nelson all the
over.
way.
And Plymouth's done work on it.
Yeah,
lately.
oh yeah, too, it's beautiful.
Yep.
so I think the person at OCPC is gonna set up some kind of meeting
Okay.
and Matt will invite people from Open Space Committee if there's anyone who wants to attend. He'll, dates to be determined. Just want me to put that on y'all's radar.
Okay.
And OCPC would apply in tandem, I guess, with the two towns for the Mass Trails Grant, the same one I'm doing the dates upon. So I don't think it would affect eligibility if it's them doing the application.
Right.
I think that'd be cool.
I remember Matt talking about that a while ago too, probably a few years ago. And somebody was trying to get that moving or a bike trail or at least something there. There's a lot of projects that he's gotten started that have come out great, so.
And then only other thing I have is Matt mentioned, wanted me to see if you guys wanted to move the meetings back to 5:30 because the only reason it got moved to 5:45 was because of Jim's schedule.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys are fine with keeping it, if you guys prefer to keep it at 5:45, totally fine. And just figured I'd ask.
I don't mind. Tuesday night itself is just difficult because my Kid Scouts used to be on Monday.
Mm,
They moved it to Tuesday. So we're to be here because my wife's in a meeting down the hall. I'd have my mother take the kids to all three of them Scouts.
no. So
So-
5:45
So
kind of.
5:30, 5:45 doesn't make a huge difference probably.
What about you, Jada?
I'm good with any time, so 5:45 works best for everyone else, that's fine.
Actually, 5:45 is probably good because if I'm running late to get the kids,
Okay,
get that extra 15 minutes and not be late.
we'll just keep it like that for now.
Either
Just
time works.
It
figure
just
it
depends on how it plays out in the future. I could be remote for more meetings.
Right.
Okay, I mean, if you guys ever want to change it in the future, it's not a big deal.
Mm.
You can just bring it up. But that's all I have. For updates. unless you guys have-
No, I do not have anything. For open forum. You guys? Jay, did you have anything for open forum?
No, I do not.
All right, so the next would be the meeting minutes for August 6th, 2024 and September 24th, 2024. I have read them.
I've read them as well.
They look good to me. Somebody wants to make a motion?
Well,
to-
Jade, have you read them?
Yes, I have.
Okay, then I'll make the motions. Move to accept the meeting minutes of the Open Space Committee from the August 6th, 2024 meeting.
We gotta do roll call. Can I
Yep.
second?
You
Okay.
can't just.
Okay. Jada? Jada.
Sorry, I thought I was on.
You still have to say yes or no.
Oh, sorry, yes.
That's okay. Heath?
Aye.
And I'm an I, so August 6th, 2024 is passed.
I move that we accept the minutes of the Open Space Committee, September 24th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second that and take a roll call. Jada?
Yes.
Heath?
Aye.
Megan is an I, and those meeting minutes for September 24th. 2024 passed. Okay, and then there's a future meetings. Little tag here. Did we want to just pick the next meeting? Oh, all right, here.
So I still plan on holding a meeting
Okay.
as long as I'm able to, which
Okay.
I should be able to, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
all right.
It's
well,
close, but, yeah, so
No, that
January
works for
7th,
me.
feel
Yeah.
okay with that?
works for me.
Okay.
All right, the next meeting will.
I
be
will
held-
update you. Status.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just check.
all right,
All right, the next meeting will be held Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, starting at 5:45 PM. The time is now 6:24, and I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All right, I will second that, and then take a roll call. Jada? Keith?
All right.
And Megan is an aye, so the meeting is closed. Motion passes, meeting is closed.